2019年7月14日下午，美国马里兰州 Rockville 市 Twin Brook 的社区活动中心大会议室座无虚席，随着庄严的国歌， Rockville 市居民 Brigitta 宣布她的市议员竞选活动正式启动。
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Brigitta 少女时期随同其父母从德国移民来美国。
I'm David Hill. I've been around city governance for quite a while, but it's not about me today.
他的成长过程从读书、工作、进入婚姻，直到退休，50多年时间一直居住在 Rockville 市。他对这个城市充满了感情。退休以后，仍然积极参与帮助蒙郡公共事务和 Rockville 城市建设的各种志愿活动。这次决定出来参选2020年 Rockville 市议员，也是基于他50多年来对 Rockville 的透彻了解。他非常清楚 Rockville 市政府工作中有哪些需要改进的地方，哪些可以利用的优势，哪些可以避免的浪费。他希望在自己身体健康、有经验、有能力的时候，再一次来服务这座城市。
I believe my experience and my love of Rockville made me the best qualified candidate to represent your interests on our city council. Thank you for coming, and I'm overwhelmed.
Brigitta 希望因为自己的工作使 Rockville 政府的工作更有效率，纳税人的钱在这个城市建设中发挥更大效益，利用城市优势吸引更多有价值的投资，让城市宜居幅度更大提高。ACEC 社区新闻频道就 Rockville 市议员竞选一事，邀请马州一之声广播电台首席主持人伊女士对候选人 Brigitta 女士进行了专访。
Welcome, Brigitta. Thank you for coming. Today we will talk a lot about election. Right now, Asian American community very care about this election. I know right now you're at the point you could retire and enjoy your life. But what impels you to continue to run for the Rockville City Council?
That's a very good question. First of all, I've been retired since 2005, so that's 12 years. And since then, I've been very involved in the community, and I volunteered for organizations like the League of Women Voters, the Rockville Sister City Corporation. I was on the Planning Commission for 6 years, and I have learned much about the city, and I feel like I have a lot to give back to the community.
How long have you been living in Rockville?
I have actually been living in Rockville for 54 years. I'm actually an immigrant from Germany. I came here when I was 7, and my family moved to Columbus, Georgia, and we were there 4 years. We were in Charlotte, North Carolina for 5, and then I've been in Rockville since high school. At Richard Montgomery High School, and when I was 18, I became a naturalized citizen.
Oh, it's a long history.
I have real concerns about giving back my civic duty.
That's right. But how do you think those experiences will help you to win this election?
Well, I'm hoping that I can educate the voters, which is very hard to reach. I'm going door to door. I'm going to have a website. I'm having my big kickoff tomorrow with my speech. I want to let Rockville know I want to represent them because I have experience. I know how Rockville works because I've been involved in the last 40 years with city government. And I feel like that I know how the tax structure works. I'm a senior one-income person, and I look at my property tax, and I'm concerned about all property taxes. Not just if they're going to go up, but how they're spent. Are they efficiently, effectively spent, giving us the best services possible?
But what makes you a better choice than other opponents?
Well, we've got some opponents that are forming slates. They're all going together and they're putting one mind together. I'm going to bring a separate mind representing all the independent voters in Rockville. And I've also given back to this community much more. Having been served on the Planning Commission for 7 years, I can tell you I learned about legal issues. There are people who think you can just stop a development because you don't want it. But when you serve on the Planning Commission, you learn that there are certain laws and there are property rights for property owners, business owners, and what I've learned is you have to listen to all information. You get information from the city, you get information from the attorney from the city, you listen to the community's concern, and you listen to the applicant wanting to have their application approved. So I feel like I've proven that I've learned that you can do that, and you become a team player when you're serving with 7 people on a commission.
That's great. I know you are immigrant, German immigrant.
Yes.
So I'm sure you can fully understand the immigrant life in the United States. We know immigrants really care about the education and job opportunities and the safety in neighborhoods. What's your opinion about those issues?
Well, I personally think as immigrants, we're just as concerned as Americans. I don't like to divide us. We're concerned about the safety of our neighborhood, education, job opportunities. Immigrants are very thankful people, and we're thankful for the American way of life because of the freedom of speech. We get to pretty much do what we feel is right. We have lots of rights that a lot of other countries don't allow people to have. In addition to freedom of speech, the entrepreneurship is very obtainable.
That's
and in
right.
Rockville, I mean, you can see how the Asian community have been welcomed into our community with wonderful restaurants, and they brought their culture. And the city of Rockville's been very, very good about including all the different cultures.
Right.
They're very welcoming that. As an immigrant, I'm also very, very respectful for the rule of law. It's a very important thing for me.
And as far as we know, Rockville right now has a high real estate prices, a lot of traffic, and and a very crowded school systems. How could you help those to tackle those issues?
Well, the school system is one that's run by the Montgomery County Public School, and the issue with the overcapacity of schools in Rockville is one that the city of Rockville cannot control that. It's actually controlled by the school system. And in fact, we've just had a discussion with the county executive saying that the council doesn't control the schools. They don't control the school capacity. They don't control the school sizes or the boundaries or how many buses they'll approve. They only approve the budget. Okay, and that's the same with the city. The city of Rockville has no controls of the school. The problem is that when an applicant tries to build a residential area, it starts affecting how many kids may be generated to that school cluster. The problem is the county needs to deal with how they're going to distribute the students. There are now schools where kids are not going to their neighborhood schools. They're all being bused. There are programs all in different schools, and I think they need to do a better job in allowing neighborhood kids to go to their neighborhood and not try to stop development in that area.
But how you think you will help them to change the traffic problem?
The traffic is another regional problem. I've always said Rockville can't control its traffic in this region because you've got traffic coming from the north all the way to DC. What it is that needs to be done is that you've got to have the state, the federal, the county, and the city to work together. The city has probably a little bit of role in it, but you've got to have good relationships with these other government agencies. And I don't find that has worked that well in the past. Obviously, I will be an advocate for all of Rockville to be one of those people, but I'm just one voice. I need to influence my council when I get elected as to what we can do.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, as a senior government employee of Montgomery County, from your perspective, what's the biggest problem that Rockville faces?
For seniors, or just
no, just because you as a senior employee of Montgomery County, right? Government employee of Montgomery County. So right now, from your perspective, what's the biggest problem right now the Rockville faces?
Well, if you're talking about seniors, okay, I'm a senior. I'm actually a one-income person. I'm very concerned about how we're taxed, being taxed by obviously the state, the county, and the city. I don't have my salary going up, okay? I'm not getting increases. So being able to afford to stay in Rockville, as they call it, age in place, is very important. Now, Rockville's doing a lot of good things. They're trying to reach out to how they can help the seniors, and I will obviously advocate for all of that. There are some things that we don't have control over. The cost of living in Montgomery County is very high, and I'm concerned about when you start raising your salaries, that, you know, all of our food, restaurants, everybody's going to have to increase their prices. So as a senior, I'd be concerned about where we're going with all of these high increases. I personally couldn't buy my house today. What my house is worth today, I couldn't afford it. So luckily, I've lived there for over 40 years. I just paid it off. And so what I now have to be concerned about is what my property tax is in the future. And that's a big issue as a senior from my perspective.
But I want to say, if you think those as problems, how you will tackle those issues? If you think there is problem there, so for those senior people, so how you will tackle those issues for the senior people?
Well, for the senior people, it's no different than anybody else. I mean, the young people have the same issue of affordability. My goal would be from a tax perspective. I was a budget officer from the federal government, and I realized that you have to control your costs. And what I think needs to happen is we need to very well analyze, are we doing the best, managing the smartest? In other words, are there ways to do things differently? Can we combine certain positions? Can we reclassify positions? I think in some ways we're doing the same thing over and over, and it's time to more or less analyze what can be done. I know we have a senior center, and I'm still trying to learn how much of that center reaches all of the seniors in Rockville. So I want to be on the council to be able to dig in to more specifics to see where I can help. I just feel like I can be an advocate in that area.
That's great. Are there any resources that you could make a better Rockville, and you think they are not to be used for their full potential?
Underutilized?
I mean, you think what kind of a resource that make the better Rockville, and you think they've never been used for their full potential?
Well, I think Rockville could reach out more for the business community, and I know they're trying to work with the Chamber of Commerce and the Rockville Economic Development, Inc. I think those are areas that can be improved where you have more partnerships. And I think you need to have more community involved in that partnership. It can't just be, you know, business and government. I think it needs to be also the neighborhood people, or the, you know, like myself, you know, representing all of Rockville. And I think that would help, you know, and I think we have to make improvement in that area.
Right now there is a talk amongst the Asian American, and they want Chinatown in Rockville. How do you think that idea?
Well, first of all, as an immigrant, I believe in inclusivity. And I'm not aware that someone wants to set up any Chinatown. We have a large Asian population. I believe it's over 20%. And they have brought the best restaurants to Rockville. I mean, Rockville's known for its culture and its ethnic foods, and I think it's a welcoming thing, and I have no problem with it. And obviously, there's no shortage of Asian markets, and obviously in the schools, we have, in my neighborhood, they're increasing. I think it's lovely. I don't have a problem with that. I think that Rockville is very inclusive.
So if you think that Chinatown is building the Rockville, you think right now is I heard some people said Rockville right now is a China.
No, I think what people are referring to is the fact that we have a large Asian population. I mean, obviously, if you walk around, I mean, in my neighborhood, okay, I can see there's more Asians there.
Yes.
And it's not just my neighborhood in Turnbrook, but it's throughout Rockville. And I think that those people who weren't used to seeing a lot of Asians might make some statement like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I understand what you said. Yeah.
But no, there's no Chinatown, and it's not just, you know, the Asian. It's we've got various Koreans, Filipinos. We have Taiwanese. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, and then we have a lot of people from Africa. I mean, lots of them. You know, and we have some from Jamaica. I mean, they're just from all over. We're very, very diverse.
Right. I like the Asian market.
Yes.
Market.
Well, they're high. You know, they're high. The Asian population is very high.
Right. That's right. I heard a lot about say that Rockville right now is gather a lot of Asian people.
And you know what? I have more Asian friends now than I had 10 years ago. So that's progress, right?
Yeah, that's progress. That's exactly. But I want to ask you a last question.
Okay.
If you were to win the election, what would you do to help racial and ethnic minority in the Rockville?
Well, that's a very, very good question. First of all, I want to say that I value diversity, and I think that people in Rockville do. I think we're very inclusive. The city welcomes all people from all backgrounds and all ethnicities. As an immigrant myself, I'm sensitive to making Rockville continue to be a welcoming city. I mean, that's very, very important. And I think that we give everybody an opportunity. If we work hard and we cooperate, I think that's good. Now, minorities who know in Rockville, who I know in Rockville and elsewhere, have been the hardest working, smartest, most industrious, ambitious, productive people I have ever met, to be honest. Okay? They do not need my help. I really think they don't need my help. We are very inclusive. We are very welcoming. And I love all people. And so I give you that. Another thing I would like to say, America is about giving everyone the same chance to be a success. That's what we're all about. That's why people want to come here.
Yes.
That is why I am an independent campaign to represent all of Rockville. The reason I'm running is that when I do, and when I am on the city, I will make sure that the playing field is at the level for everyone. I'm not going to discriminate. I'm not working with one specific group. I'm not slating myself. I am independently representing all of Rockville. And having lived in Rockville and gone through the diverse changes, I understand where we are and where we need to go.
Okay, thank you so much for coming today, and I hope you win this election.
Thank you. I love Rockville. I want to win. Everybody, please vote.
We will hear your voice for us. Thank you.
以上新闻由ICEC 记者 Rebecca 马里兰报道。